Rising. Happy Thursday. Let's, I guess, get right into it. There was another debate last night. It feels like there's one roughly every 6 hours.
Well, at least on the Republican side of the aisle, that is.
Yes, true.
All right.
What were the highlights?
Well, Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis faced off in a tete-a-tete last night in another televised GOP debate, and things got heated.
Word salad is the problem.
Governor DeSantis.
She says she's always supported school choice, and she failed to deliver. She blames other people. Leadership is about getting things done. Stop making excuses. Make it happen.
If leadership's about getting things done, how did you blow through $150 million in your campaign and you were down in the polls?
So
you
here's
are
I think
not
this
a manager.
Is very
No,
instructive.
now I'm going to say.
I think it's very instructive about how Nikki Haley sees the world.
I think I have the floor.
Political
Governor
advertisements
DeSantis,
as like that's as important as the kids and their education. What is more important here? She's saying somehow
Governor DeSantis,
that's
it's
not
Governor
as important.
It's Governor Haley's time. Go ahead. I think I hit a nerve. What I will tell you is, look, if you can't manage a campaign, it's been a revolving door of political people in and out of his campaign. You've heard of campaign people going to blows with each other because they can't all agree. $150 million, and he spent more on private planes than commercials. I flew commercial. I stayed in residence inns. We went and saved our money. We made sure we spent it right, because you have to understand it's not your money. It's other people's money, and you have to know how to handle it. If he can't handle the financial parts of a campaign, how's he going to handle the economy when it comes to the White House?
In his opening statement, DeSantis derided Haley as mealy-mouthed politician who is beholden to her donors. Let's watch some of that.
Donald Trump's running to pursue his issues. Nikki Haley's running to pursue her donors' issues. I'm running to pursue your issues and your family's issues and to turn this country around. I'm the only one running that's delivered on 100% of the promises that I've made. We've delivered huge victories in the state of Florida, things that Republicans have been asking for a generation. I'm also the only one running that has beaten the left time and time again. We beat the teachers union on universal school choice. We beat Soros on crime. We beat Fauci on COVID. We beat the Dems on election integrity. And I beat the left by banning China from buying land in the state of Florida. Now, Nikki Haley is running. We don't need another mealy-mouthed politician who just tells you what she thinks you want to hear just to try to get your vote, then to get in office and to do her donors' bidding.
Haley, on the other hand, took the opportunity to hit out at the elephant in the room, former President Donald Trump.
I think ballots need to be counted on Election Day, and you should get results on Election Day. But that election, Trump lost it. Biden won that election, and the idea that he's gone and carried this out forever to the point that he's going to continue to say these things to scare the American people are wrong. We've seen a lot of states come together and do more election integrity bills. We need to do more than that. We still have 3 or 4 states that I'm worried about that don't have that. But at the end of the day, I will always defend and fight for the Constitution. That's what we should do as Americans. I think what happened on January 6th was a terrible day, and I think President Trump will have to answer for it.
So just a clarification.
Now, you may have noticed that some people were missing from the debate stage last night. It was just the two of those people. Former New Jersey Governor Christie had dropped out of the 2024 race just hours before the debate started, not before he was caught on hot mic trashing his opponents. Let's listen.
Yeah, I mean, look, she spent $68 million so far, just on TV. Spent $68 million so far, $59 million by DeSantis, and we spent 12. I mean, who's punching above their weight and who's getting a return on their investment, And she's going to get smoked. And you and I both know it. She's not up to this.
She hasn't even been. And she's still 20 points behind Trump in New Hampshire, right?
Yeah.
And,
oh, yeah.
And he's still going to carry Iowa, right?
Yes. Oh, I talked to DeSantis called me, petrified that I would.
He's probably getting out after Iowa.
Well,
All in all, national polling from Tip Insights released just this morning finds that Donald Trump is still the far and away favorite to win the GOP primary, leading his closest challenger in that poll, DeSantis, by a whopping 55 percentage points.
Christie's statements there are kind of interesting to me. He seems to think that, somehow he maybe has better chances, even though he didn't qualify for the debate stage and obviously just dropped out. Or that somehow Nikki Haley is uniquely disadvantaged because of New Hampshire polls. Nikki Haley is currently at 32% in New Hampshire to Trump's 39%. She's whittled Trump's lead down to single digits. It seems like an odd point on which to attack her in that sour grapes kind of a fashion.
True, and also what my understanding was, what we've heard from insidery type people is that Christie wanted to get out before New Hampshire in particular because, let's say, based on what the polls are now, let's say Nikki Haley loses to Trump in New Hampshire by 5 points and Christie gets 5% of the vote. He says his goal is to stop Trump, and he doesn't want to be kind of splitting the anti-Trump vote. It was, he didn't get traction, and it was time to consolidate. Sounded like there were some sour grapes there, but I don't know what else to make of it.
All right, what about the main show? We played a number of clips. There was the clip where Ron DeSantis criticized Nikki Haley for her donor base. We didn't play this part of the clip, but she responded to him saying, "You're just mad that those donors used to be with you, but that they've jumped ship because you're a failing quantity here in this race." What do you make of that exchange? Do you think any of these jabs were particularly good or successful for Nikki Haley? My understanding is that while in the room it felt like Ron DeSantis was doing better, he is doing better in the state than Nikki Haley, that generally speaking in the country as a whole, Nikki Haley was Googled after the debate at a rate higher than Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis combined.
Yeah, I mean, I think their positions with respect to each other are pretty clear by now. Ron DeSantis is somewhat better liked by the real, by more conservative voters who really want policy results in terms of fighting wokeness and resisting COVID overreach and all of that stuff. Maybe people who approve of a lot of Trump policies but are sick of Trump and frankly think that he is less likely to win than someone else, versus a Nikki Haley who is clearly more appealing, who has, I think, a broader appeal, including to more moderate and certainly never Trump Republicans and maybe also independents, who is well-spoken and has a resume that speaks to, again, a lot of independent people's interests and sounds moderate on many issues, and not all issues, certainly on abortion, which has been a thorn in the GOP's side for these last couple elections. So they're making their cases. What I found most interesting is actually they both did talk about Trump more than they have in any previous debates, with Nikki Haley saying the idea that he should be like immune from scrutiny because his presidential elections are protected. She said that was ridiculous. And actually DeSantis, who's, more than anyone else tried to do this dance of being a candidate for people who like Trump but want to move on, but we're not going to say anything bad about Trump. We don't think bad things about Trump. We just want someone else. That's the candidacy he's tried to run. He did say at one point, look, Trump is going to be in serious. I don't see him getting out of the legal situation he's in. He said it's, going to be an all Democratic judge, et cetera, in D.C. He said, I don't agree with it. I think it's unfair, but it is reality that I don't see him getting out of this. And what are we doing here if that's the case? And I can't help but wonder why that argument was not made over and over again from the beginning, because it has seemed to me to be one of the, maybe not a successful strategy, but you have to take some strategy.
Well, it almost doesn't matter. Well,
it doesn't matter now. It's too late.
Well, no, it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter until it manifests. He can say all day and night, he's not actually critiquing Trump. He's saying, I just don't think Trump's going to make it. So who would vote for him? Who would register their preference for him in a poll as long as Trump is, in fact, still in the race? It only matters if, in fact, he is right. And so that's the fundamental gamble.
But by then it'll be too late to pick someone else. That's the case.
This is the fundamental gamble. Nikki Haley is operating on the presumption that Donald Trump is going to be in the race, and she's going for voters who are frankly frustrated with Donald Trump, voters who don't want there to be national abortion bans, which are most voters, including an overwhelming majority of independent voters who don't want such a hard, aggressive tone on immigration that undermines our core American values. While Ron DeSantis is saying that to trust Nikki Haley with immigration is like a fox guarding the hen house, and hacking her over using the word, avoiding the words illegal aliens instead of undocumented immigrants or whatever, that might play well in the room. But a lot of Americans, frankly, don't feel that way. And so this is the crucial gamble. Is Nikki Haley right that Donald Trump is going to end up in this? Or is Ron DeSantis right? And if Ron DeSantis, I think the fundamental problem with Ron DeSantis making that pitch more aggressively and earlier than this is that he's basically making a pitch to the people who want Donald Trump to be in this, that he's not going to be in this. And no one who actually likes Donald Trump wants to hear that.
But it's true. I mean, it's his job to sell it. That Trump is going to face very serious legal consequences, and Republicans are not endorsing that. But the fact remains that if we care about the weaponization of the federal government and all these policies that we think are like an existential threat to the conservative way of life and ideology, we need to win, and the ability to do that is going to be seriously compromised for Donald Trump specifically, and he has shied away from saying that.
You're asking him to tell the voter base who loves Donald Trump, which is the voter base that he's going for, that their favorite guy is not going to make it. That's the kind of negative news nobody wants to hear. And I understand why he really cannot make that pitch that forcefully without coming off like he's rooting for Donald Trump to fail. Because, of course, he is. His own presidential ambitions hinge on Trump getting locked up.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it shakes out. I will say that when it's down to just two people, man and woman just kind of tearing each other apart on stage, there's something oddly familiar about watching that performance.
Are you having 2016 flashback?
No, I'm having you and me. Like, wow, is that what it looks like?
Well, Haley looked great. I'll give her that.
All right, we've both got radars today. What a treat for our viewers and for each other. You want to see some shouting. More Rising right after this.